This is the Louie Tee Network.
In the lab room.
10 minutes or less. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome, you are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on this program, Jacksonville Jaguars, 10 minutes or less. Clock it up. Let's go. Jacksonville Jaguars. So you go season rewind. You look at this Jacksonville Jaguars football team. And let's just fast forward straight to the bye week. So we get off the bye at week 9, perfectly placed bye, smack dab in the middle of the season, cuts it in half, 8 games before the bye, 8 games after, and they're 0-8 at the bye. So there's really not much to talk about with this Jaguars team prior to their bye. So they're 0-8, they come off the bye, and they're a new team. They're a different football team, a very invigorated football team. They win a surprise victory on the road within the division against the Tennessee Titans. They get it done at the end, win their first game of the season, win a game within the division, and so they're feeling good about themselves. And before you know it, the Jacksonville Jaguars have won 4 out of their next 5. So you're saying to yourself, wow, what just happened? Including, get this, a 3-game winning streak for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So just when you thought it was safe to dust off your Jacksonville Jaguars gear and profess your love of the Jacksonville Jaguars, just when you thought it was safe, they lose 3 games in a row, finish up the season at 4-12. But I think there were some great things done in 2013 if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Gus Bradley has this team believing in his philosophy and how he wants to do things in Jacksonville. And so if you are the Jaguars, you've got a lot of money to play with. And boy, do you need every single penny because you have a lot of holes on this roster. Let's fast forward now to the 2014 offseason. Okay, we're talking about a Jacksonville Jaguars football team with over $40 million worth of cap space. Again, the cap ceiling is going to raise, it looks like, in the new league year. And so this Jaguars team is probably going to have $50 million plus in cap space available to them. They need to use it and use it wisely. This is a team that is void of a lot of talent in areas where you need to be talented. And so if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, you need to go out and attack free agency with aggression. Let's look at the list of free agents in Jacksonville right now. And you start with Chad Henne, Delonte Carter, Maurice Jones-Drew, Tyler Price, Clay Harbor, Sam Young, Brad Meester, Brandon Dederick, Kyle Love, Will Blackman, and these last 2 are restricted free agents in Cameron Bradfield and running back Jordan Todman. So you look at the list of free agents, and really, I don't want many of those guys back that I just named. There are only a few that I could think of that would warrant you to want them back in Jacksonville. It needs to be a whole new roster in terms of what you're trying to build in Jacksonville. I just told you, not a lot of talented guys at an elite level on this roster. So you need to go out, spend some money, and bring some talented individuals in. So, of course, Maurice Jones-Drew is at the top of your list. If you're a Jaguars fan, he's the one guy you want to hold on to because he's the reason why lay fans know who the Jacksonville Jaguars are. You take MJD off of your football team, and then you ask yourself, who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Now, of course, I know who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but does Larry know who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Does Kevin know who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars? If you take the face of your franchise, Maurice Jones-Drew, off of the team, I think not. And not just because of that, the guy still has good football left in him. If he can just stay healthy, I think he's the guy that can still make some plays for you. And I think you want him back. I think that's what the Jaguars want to do. But again, it's all about becoming a better football team. If he's asking for too much money and you feel like you can do better elsewhere, whether it be in the draft or the free agent market at the running back position, by all means. I mean, the guy isn't a spring chicken. We know how it is with running backs. They get to a certain age, and it seems like their talents and their ability to play the game sharply decline at the age of 30 and thereafter. And so he's approaching that very vastly. And so I get it. If you don't want him back, I understand the logic there, but I just feel like this guy is supposed to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. We'll see how that shakes out, but I think you want Maurice Jones-Drew back. What about his running mate in the backfield, Jordan Todman? He showed me a lot last season. He showed me the ability to catch the football. He showed me the ability to throw it. And he's not half bad as a running back either. I think he's a guy that you want back. Look, you can't let both of these guys walk. Now, you still need someone to tote the rock. I say you bring back either one of these guys or both of them, but it can't be none of them. So one of these guys needs to be back. If you feel like you want to go the younger, cheaper option, then you bring back Jordan Todman. If you want to go the franchise guy, we want to do right by MJD, then you bring back Maurice Jones-Drew. I say, why not have your cake and eat it too? Why not bring back both of these guys? But again, maybe you don't see it as being necessary to have both of these guys back. If you were asking me, and this is just a guy on the outside looking in, you bring back the younger, probably more upside Jordan Todman guy. I don't know if Maurice Jones-Drew is what he once was 5 years ago, okay? A lot of tread has worn off of those tires. I might side with the younger, more vibrant Jordan Todman, but that's just me. I'm not a Jags fan. You probably want your man back, and I don't blame you. How about a guy like Will Blackman? I think he's a guy that you can get back for relatively cheap. I thought he played well, especially at the end of the season. I'd like to see him back in Jacksonville, but again, if this Jacksonville Jaguars brass doesn't see eye to eye with Will Blackman, he won't be back in Jacksonville. But he fits a Gus Bradley corner, long, can make plays on the football, much like the corners in Seattle. He's a 6-foot corner with a little bit of length, long arms. So he fits what Gus Bradley likes at the cornerback position. I think he's a guy that you can get back for relatively cheap and get him to play some good football for you. I think the best is yet to come for Will Blackman. I think you want him back on your football team. We'll see how that happens in free agency for the Jacksonville Jaguars. To me, that's it. That's all you want back out of your free agents. And you got a lot of money to spend. And so let's get to team needs, because if there's a position out there, the Jacksonville Jaguars probably need it. So let's go to team needs for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you look at this team, let's start at the top. You need quarterback help. You need running back help. You need guard help. You need tackle help. You need cornerback help. And you need safety help. So I just named 6 positions, all right? That's a lot of help. But when you're a 4-12 team with not a lot of talent, that's what happens. So let's start at the top. Let's attack that monster, because, again, you cut off the head, the body will die. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have a chance in this league. You got to address that via the draft. You need to draft a quarterback and something elite at the top of the draft. This isn't a case where you can wait till the 2nd or the 3rd round. You need a 1st-round quarterback. You messed up with Blaine Gabbert, and it's okay. Teams make mistakes. Admit you're wrong. Admit your mistake. Move forward. I'm looking for the Jaguars to do exactly that in the upcoming draft. Also, though, you need a backup. You need another guy in there just in case the quarterback that you draft isn't ready to play yet. So whether you bring back Chad Henne or you go out on the free agent market, there are some quality quarterbacks out there, and bring one of those guys in to be a stopgap of sorts. Whatever you need 2 quarterbacks. That's all I know. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you need 2 quarterbacks. One that's going to be the franchise moving forward, and another one to be the stopgap, because I don't think Blaine Gabbert is a guy you want on your roster any longer, and Chad Henne is a free agent, and I don't know if he's coming back either. So I think the Jaguars could use 2 quarterbacks. Running back, I just talked about your running back situation. Maurice Jones-Drew and Jordan Todman, both free agents. Now, if you bring both of those guys back, guess what? You don't need any running backs. But if you only bring one back, then you need a running back. If you don't bring any of them back, then guess what? You need a bunch of running backs. So you figure that one out. I don't know what you're going to do, but you probably are going to need some running back help when it's all said and done. What about guard? You need to upgrade this offensive line. You gave up 50 sacks last year, one of the worst offensive lines in the National Football League. You trade Eugene Monroe in the middle of the season. So you need offensive line help. You need guard help. You need tackle help. Draft and draft. You look at safety and corner. Again, if you re-sign Will Blackman, and I think you still need to go into the draft, even if you re-sign him. You got Dwayne Gratz. You got some young guys, Fleming out of Oklahoma, you drafted last year as well. But those guys are young and they still need to be developed. You still need some veterans out there to help those guys along the way. Think you could go in free agency, get you a corner. There are some really quality safeties on the free agent market as well. I think you need to go in free agency. You went in the draft and got Cyprian last year. Now you need to go get him a tag team partner in free agency. Spend some money. You got a lot of it. Don't be cheap, Jacksonville. You want to play some competitive football, go out and spend some money and get some talent onto this roster. That's been the Jacksonville Jaguars in 10 minutes or less.
10 minutes or less. Like the content? Want more? Sub up.
In the lab